So there's a lot of like power scaling when it comes to Naruto. There's a lot of power scaling when it comes to Naruto, and I thought, you know what? Maybe I might as well just power scale like different characters because I would feel like they're more interesting than necessarily say recycle power scaling Naruto. But I do have a video for Naruto, and that one should be quite interesting because it's definitely not the same. Which I'm probably gonna power scale the Akatsuki and Shinobi by like the villages or whatever. I've already done Leave, but for now I'll be scaling Mega Man X. And I guess I'll give the top 5 strongest Mavericks. Now for this, I'm gonna exclude X, Zero, Sigma, and particularly the Sigma stage bosses and like the generals and the lieutenant or whatever. Like they're pretty ranked and they're pretty powerful, but for the sake of this, for the sake of this video, it would just make things a little bit more interesting and more easy because, well, when ranking those characters, it's a little nuanced, and to specifically talk about the Colonel or the Colonel, which Zero fights in X4, is the fact that, well, Zero doesn't actually find the Colonel a threat. Like, he pretty much just says, I'm gonna kill you, and then does it. And it hurts Iris, but it's not like, oh, well, she's now a threat to Zero in capacity. If you really watch and you notice, Zero doesn't really come out with scratches on him, or it's really even damaged by any of his fights with the Colonel, or even the Lieutenant, or the General, whatever. So I excluded those. Now, for this listing, I'll be including the Mavericks and mostly anyone you could fight within the first 8 stages, of course. And, yeah, I guess I get started, basically. Whatever. Now, number 1 is Magma Dragoon. For clear and obvious reasons, Magma Dragoon is very much one of the strongest, if not the strongest Maverick that isn't, Nexus Zero. And this is pretty much because he destroys an entire city. He not only destroys the city, but he essentially can be fought with the right armor. So it would be like the equivalent of having like 2 HP bars. And he just does it casually. On top of that, he's strong enough to survive fighting X and Zero while they're trying to kill him, and he still has enough time to survive to explain his dialogue. Yeah, he can kind of he gets bisected and he's perfectly fine. So, not necessarily fine, but yeah. Honestly, he's a part of an elite unit. He really kind of was bloodthirsty and felt like he could fight X and Zero. He not only fought in X and Zero that were enhanced and stronger, but he actually he's considered a really deadly opponent. He's one of the only Mavericks that doesn't have Sigma's influence, by the way. He just straight up fights them because he wants to. So there's that. And number 2 is Vile. Now this isn't really a question as to why Vile is number 2, but so this Vile is the reason Zero died in X1. So he's already stronger than the 17th division and the 0th division, the Zero special unit. On top of that, he can be enhanced or revived, and this is after X gets a power boost. So he not only fights an enhanced X, survives against him, but could actually survive a battle with X, whereas that X who is super enhanced and is now stronger than ever, well, he just kind of now, he one-shot that Vile, but now he's just surviving fights with X. So, on top of Vile just getting stronger in general, but yeah. And as a disclaimer for the video, I'm not including any games that aren't canon, so that means basically anything past X5 in any of the Extreme games, or the command games, or the command mission game. So yeah, number 3 is Spiral Pegasus. Now, it may seem interesting since lore-wise it doesn't have a whole lot of strength feats like Macrojuku breaking, destroying a city, or File basically killing Zero. But Spiral Pegasus is very noteworthy because he is essentially the air director to the air division. He's considered really powerful, and he's not really as threatened by X-Zero and actively engages them in combat. He's also really strong, and again, he's the director, so that means even the commander of even the commanders of I forgot that Owl Maverick boss, I kinda forgot. But yeah, he's even stronger than that guy, and it's pretty much apparent in his gameplay. So he's not only the air director of the air division, but he's also just blatantly stronger than most of the Mavericks based on his gameplay. He also challenges X and Zero, so yeah, he's not really threatened by them. I kind of repeat that, but yeah. Now, number 4 is Blast Hornet. Now, it may seem strange that I'm adding Blast Hornet, you know, the Maverick that everyone probably forgets in X30, but Blast Hornet was a part of the Zero special unit, and this is pretty noteworthy because, again, this Zero was essentially stronger than every Maverick in X1, and he was a threat to Vile, which, again, he was like someone that was recruited by Sigma, and this X that gets enhanced and destroys him is like comparable to like, well, he's just casually beating Sigma. But aside from that, most of the Mavericks from X1 to X3 are kind of implied to be former 14th unit, and this is the same unit that X comes from. And so even though this is kind of, well, impressive, this just means lore-wise and implicatively that there are only 3 Mavericks that are stronger than most of the Mavericks in the series, and are just implied to be literal assassins who are trained to destroy Mavericks, and that's Blast Hornet, Magna Centipede, and Web Spider. Now, of course, these Mavericks are, well, they're essentially comrades to Zero, but they're also, like, they also have their own lore implications. So, Blast Hornet was an ally of X's and Zero's all the way up until X3, and he wasn't defeated, he was turned into a Maverick, so it essentially means that Blast Hornet was considered a threat that was willingly able to be recruited by Doppler, and was considered pretty powerful, as he owns his own. He basically owns that entire base by himself, operates it, has one of the strongest weapons, and owns some missiles and everything. So he's really powerful. Now, number 5 is Magna Centipede. Magna Centipede is also a zero unit of he's also part of the Zero special unit, and he's pretty notable for surviving the events of X1. However, he is, yeah, so he's basically Zero's comrade. He's essentially able to accompany Zero on missions that are S rank and just as deadly, only putting him below the rank of, say, the X Hunters, which are SA rank hunters, or, you know, SA rank Mavericks that are considered deadly. So yeah, Zero is S rank, but X Hunters are SA, meaning they kind of anticipated killing X and were strong enough to do so, and X of course had to try against them and kill them, but yeah. So yeah, Magna's Centipede is really powerful, but he actually gets beat by Mavericks, so that's kind of why I put him at 5. So yeah, I'm gonna test out whether this works, otherwise this is gonna be a pain in the ass. But yeah, that should be about it. That should do it. Ranking for the Mavericks.